So I realized that I've never actually talked about what I'm using, why I'm using it, and what's going on with this army. So thought I'd make a video just kind of going through that a little bit. Somebody asked me if I think that this is the strongest army in the game. I do not. I know that super witches are very strong. I know I have friends that are very good with QC Lalo still. But this is a very consistent way to 3-star bases. But so why do I use it? How did I land on this army composition? So there's a handful of things that were important to me when I was compiling this and tweaking this. One is I'm not using any super troops because I just hate lighting Dark Elixir on fire. And I am well aware that I am maxed with nothing to do with Dark Elixir, and all it does is sit full. Don't care. I hate being dependent on them, even though I know that rocket loons are, just a great place in the meta right now, along with super witches that are just absolutely insane. Another thing I care about is the size of the phone that I'm using. I hate having my icons be too big or too small or go onto 2 rows. That drives me crazy, and it makes it really difficult when I want to deploy a troop or find a spell. I don't want to have to look all over the place to figure out what's going on and where my troops are. I wanted to have the most succinct number of troops I possibly could and be consistent. All right, so that's how I landed on no single archer, no barbarian for test troops, just 2 minions, some blockers for root riders to get me through walls, some valkyries, some druids to heal them up, and then the heroes and spells. All right, piece of cake. And that's an easy way to push through a base if you have effective pathing. Right, it can easily overpower a base, and it does for me consistently. All right, so on to the heroes. What do we got going on with the heroes? I got the standard, Rage and Giant Gauntlet on the king. I run the Angry Jelly on him because it infuriates me when my king ends up walking around the outside of the map. So I put the Angry Jelly on the king so that he dives in with the rest of my army towards the defenses and gets in the fray immediately. Much less likely for him to end up on the outside. It still happens sometimes. It's even a good thing when it happens sometimes, but I want to know where he's going. On my Warden, I have Diggy. Some people don't like putting Diggy on the Warden, and that's because Diggy can end up stunning a bunch of non-defensive buildings. That's much less common with this army because the vast majority of my troops, king, druids, root riders, they all target specifically defensive buildings, so that Diggy gets a lot of stuns off. As long as he's able to stay alive. From there, we've got the queen with the fox. I realize that's a little bit of a weird combination there, but the goal here is to keep the queen alive. I have druids. I don't really need the unicorn, so she's getting healed up. But what I really love about the Vaporeon is that it breaks the targeting on the queen. If the queen's ever getting targeted, it won't be for long because she's going invisible. And she stays in the fray, with my whole groups. There's always something, a tank with a ton of health to take that redirected fire off of her. And she's running invis and a frozen arrow. I love slowing things down, that are shooting at my group. My Warden, I know I mentioned that I'm running the Diggy. I'm also obviously running Fireball. That's a huge crux of my attack here. The whole reason that I'm running Fireball at all is just because I wanted to feel like I was incorporating some level of skill into this spammy attack. I absolutely think that you can triple these bases without Fireball, without really a whole lot of skill and planning, but I like to feel like I can do it consistently, and Fireball gives me a little bit of element of feeling like I'm doing something deliberately to make me feel just a little bit better about my attack in general. On top of all that, it's just a lot of fun to use and really cool effect to incorporate into your attack. But in addition to that, I'm running Rage Gem because Root Riders have been nerfed into the ground and do almost no damage at all, and Rage Gem just brings that damage up. It also just brings up the damage of everything in that radius to help everything take down defenses faster to move through the base more quickly. Last up is the Royal Champion. Royal Champion is running Haste and Hog. I've been playing around with that. Haste and Royal Gem, I don't hate either. I think that's a pretty solid combo. But Hog seems to be a community consensus for the meta here. And I'm running the Phoenix on her because no matter when she goes down, she's defensive targeting, and she's liable to take 1 to 2 extra defenses down with her. And usually by the time she's going down, we're talking about core defenses that are typically pretty valuable ones. And I think that's a very valuable thing to have. What else? guys, I think that's about it, for the army composition. Obviously, you've been watching and understand kind of what I'm doing with it, but that's that's a lot of my thoughts on why I'm using what I'm using. I jumped on the siege barracks siege machine train when everybody was doing that, but I've been going back to battle drill a bit lately. I really like deploying that with my Royal Champion, a Root Rider or two, and a couple Valkyries, and they can handle almost half the base on their own with virtually no spell support, depending on kind of what the situation is and what they're going into. But the battle drill stunning and the Royal Champion, just clobbering them away. It's a pretty solid combo. Sometimes they end up being deployed just with my main army, but splitting them is very strong too and can shave a lot of valuable time off of the off of the attack time. And then inside the siege machine, that's varied a good bit. Right now I just have Valkyries. It's hard to go wrong with just a bunch of Valkyries coming out of that thing whenever it goes down. But there's also a decent amount of merit to super minions, and I've got a clanmate using druids that come out of there late in the fight to add healing, and that's very powerful as well. So those are kind of what I'm partial to at the moment. Any questions about the army or what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, or anything that I didn't cover, I'd love to answer in the comments. Yeah, that's about it, guys. All right, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Bye.